Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of Chaos Child. Man, I've done some thinking. Also, if you go back to nearly the beginning of the Let's Play, after we took a look at the Love Hotel, it's pretty interesting. There are two things that I noticed. One, Sarika is the one who pointed out the stickers in the first place. She was just rifling through video. Oh, hey, look at this. And we had to extremely zoom in on the video, and we still couldn't make out what it was. It was super low res by the time it was that zoomed, and Sarika noticed it just at a glance. Yeah, I don't think so. Also, when we were in the Love Hotel, we wanted to run away, but we felt compelled to film. I took that as it's like a train wreck, you just can't look away, but maybe we were being mind controlled for that few seconds? That'd be interesting. And I also addressed even during the Let's Play, at the time, Sarika managed to upload that 26-minute clip to the phone, even with the excuse of going to the bathroom. That's pretty generous. She was suspicious all along. As for her motivation, I don't know what this is. I was wondering if it was something really corny, like killing Kurisu so we would be the only one, or she would be the only one for us. She's the true girlfriend. We kissed her in preschool and she always remembered it. That's weak as hell, though. And why kill Yui? What even is that? I don't know what's going on. Apparently she wants something from us, and it's not our life. So, I'm curious, but, I'm nervous as hell. The roof was normally a place for students to laugh and talk, but under the cold moonlight, the empty benches seemed silent and sad. Kurisu looked at the benches and shivered once more. It wasn't just because of the cold, it was because she had realized that this place was truly empty. Of course it was. No one was allowed here at this hour. It was an isolated place where the warm light didn't reach. Only the cold light did. No matter what happened here, the rest of the world wouldn't care. It wouldn't exist outside of this place. It was so perfect for her that it was almost sad, Kurisu thought. While Kurisu was waiting for her to arrive, she hadn't been thinking about the case. Strangely, she'd been thinking about her family and friends. What had she always said to her family before she'd left to come here in the morning? Did they smile? The younger students who'd helped with the student council's work, the talks she'd had with her classmates about the latest fads, the brief fights in the lunchroom forgotten as soon as the bell rang to tell them to go back to class. Each time she started to lapse too deep into her memories, a cold wind would blow and pull her back to reality. And then she'd realize something, with a self-abasing laugh. She knew it. The reason Nona wasn't thinking about the case was because that part of her was sure she already knew everything. If she asked, she would get the fatal answer that would lay bare the truth. And once she'd heard the answer, a strong wind blew as if to carry away her thoughts, and she closed her eyes for a moment. And when she opened them, she heard the sound of a rusty door opening. Her lips twisted a little when she heard her say it. It made her mad to hear herself called that. She felt heat rising from the bottom of her stomach. It was time to begin. I mean, I don't know what's weirder, if we're right about this, or if we're wrong. Did she realize that Kurisu was using a different name? Or did she sense something instinctively? Sarika repeated herself, this time with a suspicious look on her face. She tried to get closer, but a glance from Kurisu stopped her. Sarika froze. Kurisu repeated her words to her former best friend, the one person outside her family that she called by first name. But Sarika's expression didn't change. It was the same face Kurisu knew so well. See, now here's something that gets me very nervous. If this was an incredibly long con, and Sarika herself had been manipulated the entire time by some greater mastermind, Kunosato did mention some counsel, but how many twists can you have? The same look as when Sarika brought a crepe and was wondering what was inside. Thinking back, the two of them went shopping together all the time. Onoe had insisted that she looked fine without makeup, and Kurisu had insisted on buying her some anyway. It had been a lot of fun. And they were always together in the club. She'd argued against Takeru's reckless plans and stopped Kazuki from pounding the walls, and the two of them had always been amazed at the stupid things Ito said. But they'd always been laughing together. But...
第一の事件。あそこにいたのはあなたよね。わかんないよ、のんちゃん。さっきから何を。
Either Sarika's deadly clever, or this is an Ito situation and she does not know.
映像に音が入ってた。私のよく知ってる音がね。
What kills me is that if Sarika is the mastermind, Kurisu's an idiot? Like, Sarika's an incredibly dangerous psychic, and Kurisu's just getting alone with her in a place where no one could see or hear them. I mean, I know you don't want to bring your friends into danger, but, like, you have, like, 3 people who can use swords, psychic swords. In the Don't Look at Me video, she'd heard that strange sound that Sarika's Gero Froggy made. Sarika had a bad habit of unconsciously fiddling with it whenever she was focusing on something. Kurisu took a step forward to stop herself from falling over, and glared at Sarika with a challenge in her eyes. That's right. Kurisu was glaring at Sarika.
ちょっとのんちゃん。答えなさいって言ってるでしょ。
Like, what do you think's gonna happen? You're just gonna stop her? Sarika staggered back at the sound of her loud footsteps. Finally, her expression changed. There was fear in it.
ユイは私たちの家族から消えてしまった。死んでしまったの。もう帰ってこないの。どうしてあんなことをしたの。
Sarika stayed quiet, the terrified expression still on her face. Was she really terrified by Kurisu? Or was she trying to fool her? Or... Kurisu took another step forward.
8年前のあの日、あの病院の地下にあなたはいたの？タクルと一緒に本当にいたの？
That's the weirdest part. How is there a discussion about this?
答えられないわよね。だってあなたは絶対にあそこにはいなかったもの。それは私が一番よく知ってる。
How?
それじゃあ、あなたは一体誰？
Kurisu's question was something she'd wondered about ever since Onoe had said she'd gone into that basement with him. It was the one last thing she'd been unsure of, which she'd kept quiet about to protect her own secret. What? Until a little while ago, it had seemed like it didn't matter. She was willing to go her whole life without finding out, because Sarika Onoe was someone she loved. But now...
言いなさい。あなたは誰？
This isn't a twins situation, is it? Like, come on. But Sarika said nothing. Not a word. Did she really not know anything? The thought crossed her mind for a moment, but she quickly kicked it away. That was just what she wanted to believe. She'd had suspicions about Sarika for a long time. What? But she'd ignored them because she was too afraid to ask. And the result of that had been Yui's death. Kurisu raised her hands and brought them together, as if offering up a prayer. And the next moment... Wait, what? Huh? She brought them down hard and straight as if swinging a sword. She's not secretly a psychic the whole time, is she? Playing the long game? Serica moved back just a little. Her movement might have looked like pure reflex, but Kurusu didn't miss it. So they're both psychics. I was wondering how this would be called a duel instead of a one-sided disaster, but maybe it's gonna get anime up in here. Which meant...
やっぱりそうなのね。
Well, that's some secret. That was the answer to everything. With this music.
そうだったのね。
Serica's face became blank and expressionless. She didn't frown or sigh at her own failure. Her manner became that of a beautiful doll. She was right. She'd been ready for it, but she still couldn't help but cry. She tried to stop herself. She grit her teeth, but Serica's gaze wasn't fixed on her anymore. She stood legs apart as if judging the distance between herself and the thing and the seemingly empty space between them. She saw it. And now it was Serica's turn to look into her eyes. Her eyes were different than Kurusu had ever seen before. It was as if they saw everything. Suddenly Kurusu knew. It wasn't just a simile? What? Her eyes did see— oh, okay. I thought it was smile, but no, we're good. Her eyes did see everything. That was telepathy. A terrible, twisted power which exposed all of your most treasured secrets. She heard the sound of herself clenching her jaw, and then she forgot the tears and turned herself over to the rage that was boiling within her. It had been 6 years since she'd real-booted it, and it was almost sad how easily it came into her hand. What is the history here? The D-Sword. A monstrous blade that only those with the power to make delusions real could wield. So what the hell's Kurusu's power? She refused to look away from the light that she'd never wanted to see again as she pointed the blade at her opponents. Nothing personnel, kid. Her voice made Kurusu shiver. And a blade even more wicked than her voice appeared in Serica's hands, opening like a blooming, poisonous flower. It was beautiful. For a moment she was blinded by the beauty of the weapon. She forgot that it threatened to cut into her soft flesh. Serica leapt off the ground. The distance between them was closed in an instant. Kurusu brought down her own sword as hard as she could without even time to follow her movements. Oh, okay. And as she screamed... She could hear her voice. By the time she realized she was talking to Takaro, it was already too late. The light flashed in front of her as if driving the thought from her mind. Oh? Why? Why, Serica? The same thought kept going through my head like I was an idiot. I couldn't think. Why? What was she doing at a murder scene? The saliva caught in my throat as I moaned in pain. It took a lot of effort to keep myself from falling over. Damn it, I didn't have time to waste here. And you hear an anime sword fight upstairs? Like, as dramatic as this is, like, this is absurd. I stopped as I heard a sound. I was in front of a familiar place, but it wasn't the one I'd been coming to. I was on my way from Aoba dorm to Serica's condo in Daikanyama. I saw something strange in the corner of my eye and looked up at the school building. The school at night was an imposing sight, and on top, I could see a feeble light, like a fluorescent bulb that was about to burn out. Spelled wrong, fluorescent. I started to run, dragging my feet forward as I went. See, this is gonna suck, because it's not called Truel, it's called Duel. One of them's dead, and I bet you it's Kurisu. I raced up the stairs of the building without even bothering to take off my shoes. The lights in the yard illuminated my face with a certain rhythm as I ran. But that light was something different. That strange, dull light. I made it to the top of the stairs and slammed straight into the door. I yanked it open, trying my best not to think about what I'd find beyond. This'll be a reveal and a half. The first thing I saw wasn't the light of the D-sword, but the red. My heart beat loudly once, and then all was silence. I didn't feel anything at all. It was as if I'd totally frozen at what I'd seen. She was lying on the ground in front of me. Her clothes were red. Someone was in front of her, looking over their shoulder at me. No, not someone. I knew her, but she looked different than I'd ever seen before, and the deadly weapon in her hands made me shiver. And that weapon was deeply, deeply... A strong wind blew towards the open door. It was as if someone was trying to push me back in, as if they were trying to get me away from the threat in front of me. She'll kill you too. Run away. Now. Was the voice I heard an illusion? Or was it the person I cared about? Suddenly, all sound disappeared. My head hurt like hell. I ignored it. All the doubts I'd had, all the feelings that had told me it was a lie, I left them all behind me. Behind? It was only when I saw that the distance between us was closing rapidly that I realized I had started running. A meaningless scream poured from my throat. I could tell from the way my throat was vibrating, but I couldn't hear the sound at all. I kept running, but everything seemed to be passing by in slow motion. I felt a pulsing in my brain. My hand reached out for nothing at all. Until now, I'd never been able to touch it, but now I could grab it easily. Ladies and gentlemen, we may have duels. What was I touching? What was I holding? Some fragment of useless rationality was still within me, asking these stupid questions. I was holding the thing that was going to slice her apart. My own delusions made manifest by real booting. A twisted blade that weighed nothing at all. When I swung the D-sword, it was more than close enough to hit her. But she has anime speed. She had already turned around and raised her D-sword up from below. Why did she have a sword too? Yeah, this is bizarre. I didn't know. But before I could think about it, I brought down my weapon with all my strength. Sarika blocked it without making a sound. No, that wasn't right. My D-sword stopped before she could block it. Right before it would hit her. Oh, do we have some, fail-safe trigger in our brain that prevents us from attacking or something? I heard a voice I'd never heard before. I saw a look I'd never seen before. I couldn't move. She hadn't done anything to me. There was no mind control. I was the one in control. But my hands had stopped as if they'd struck an invisible wall. Why? Why? Why couldn't I move? Why wouldn't my arms, my legs? Is Kurisu still alive and stopping me? Is this like a super reveal? My feelings caught up to me. My reason came back, and my heart finally started to scream. Why would Sarika do this? Yeah, there's gotta be something between her and Kurisu. What the hell? What is this? Why do you kill, however many people? like 5 or something, and then work our way to the family? Like, what? The pounding headache I'd forgotten came back, and I fell to my knees. My head felt like it was going to split. That happened with Don't Look at Me, right? I grabbed it with both hands. At some point, my D sort of disappeared. The will that I tried to strike Sarika with was already gone. I dug my nails in and closed my eyes. I could feel the veins in my forehead with my hands. I felt something sticky on my knees, and I smelled a mild perfume. It was the same as before, when my little sister had been killed and ripped apart. It was the blood of someone who was every bit as important to me as my little sister, Nono Kursu. Who had done this? Who would come at her with a blade and cold eyes? I tried to use my rage to drive it all away, but I couldn't. There it is. I heard a wordless voice. I forced my eyes to open. Sarika was already gone. I looked around with blurry eyes, but there was no light from the D-sword and no sign of her at all. Again, what's the point? I crawled over to Kursu. She was crying. Big tears fell silently from her unlit eyes. Her chest was stained red, and each time she breathed, more blood came out. I pushed my hands up against her wounds. It was the first time in my life I had touched a girl's chest. Are you fucking kidding me? It was so soft, but the dark, sticky liquid kept pouring out and staining my hands red. I didn't know what to do at a time like this. How can I save her? She was going to suffocate. As she started to cough, I put my hand behind her head and quickly turned it to the side. Blood poured forth from her mouth and fell onto the ground. I tried my best to hold the wound closed. Okay? How was this okay? She was bleeding so much. She was in so much pain. Kursu's face twisted and she started to cry again. And... she suddenly grabbed the hand that was on her chest, and her grip was so weak. In that moment, I felt an indescribable chill in my heart. Be stronger. It's like you're going to die. Her breathing was getting so shallow that she couldn't speak, but she tried to grab my hand and bring it next to her head. But it looked like she shook her head just a little, and then she slowly brought my hand to her face and put it to her lips. The red from my fingers clung to her purple lips and shone like beautiful gloss. The sensation on my fingers was soft but terribly cold. And then I knew. Yeah, she was going to die after all. Her hand moved away from mine and fell to the ground. The name fell from my lips. It was the first time I'd said it in half a year. It was the name of my big sister who'd always protected me. I lifted her up and held her tightly in my arms. She didn't move at all. I called her name again and again, knowing that from now on she would never answer me. At some point, midnight had passed, and it was November 4th. The last of the Return of the New Generation Madness murders had occurred right before my eyes. Oh?
発表によりますと警察は本日11月4日午前0時30分現在東京都渋谷区で起こっている一連の猟奇事件の重要参考人として私立碧峰学園3年宮代拓君を全国に指名手配しました。繰り返しお伝えします。
I mean, we were there, but like, I still don't get the motivation. I lost my balance and fell over. I couldn't use my hands to break my fall, so a sharp pain raced through my shoulder instead. Some ashes got into my mouth, too. I tried to get up, but the weight and warmth on my back wouldn't let me. Sarika hadn't woken up for a while. She was breathing. I could still feel the beating of her heart. She was fine. I could taste blood as well as ash. I must have cut my lip when I fell. I somehow managed to stand up without dropping Sarika, cursing as I did so. This feels familiar. Is this like a retread of a flashback from the beginning of the game? I couldn't just stay lying on the ground here. My goal, AH Tokyo General Hospital in Yoyogi, was a long ways away. It was fine, I would get there no matter what. Neither Sarika nor I were going to die here. I saw people crowding around what probably used to be a store. I heard what sounded like someone calling for help and someone else saying they'd brought water from a broken vending machine. It was evidently being used as a temporary shelter. I was thirsty. I wanted water. No, I couldn't. That wasn't my priority, I knew that. I had lots of scrapes and small cuts, but none of my wounds were fatal. In an emergency like this, the most important thing wasn't water or food, it was finding a safe place. I learned that on the internet one time, and since I didn't know what was wrong with Sarika, she needed a specialist to look at her. There was no telling what might happen here in Shibuya. It was better to head to AH General in Yoyogi. I ignored them and passed by. I licked the back of my cuspid so that my body would make more saliva and I'd feel less thirsty. That was another trick I learned. I wasn't ignorant like the rest of these people. Something seemed strange. I suddenly realized that I knew some of the voices from the shelter. I looked and saw that they belonged to my classmates. I almost never went to school, but I vaguely recognized a few members of the group. There was an adult woman lying on the ground in between them. There was blood coming from her stomach, and her head. My heart skipped a beat. I just barely managed to stop myself from falling over. My classmates seemed to be trying to save her. They were each taking turns holding down on her injuries, not caring that their hands would be covered with blood. Why? Why are you doing that? All you ever do is talk about stupid crap and you never listen to me. Why aren't you panicking? You guys don't know anything, right? About priorities? Or cuspids? Why aren't you screaming? Why aren't you running? Why are you so calm? You never did anything useful with your time. You can't even use the internet. All of your information is low quality. One of them saw me and ran over. Then he started to ask if I had water, if I was alright, if I could help. Each new question came before I had a chance to answer the last one. I'd seen his face, but I didn't know his name. So how did he know my name? How could he remember it at a time like this? Or how he could? The word got stuck in my throat and I couldn't get it out. I didn't even know what I was trying to ask. I didn't know how he'd interpreted my response, but he suddenly started yelling. And then he grabbed my arm and told me to come with him. Wait! The woman's hurt. I have to save her. No, I have to get to AH General Hospital. I saw lots of injured people on the way here. That's right, this place was dangerous. My top priority was finding someplace safe. That was what my information told me. No matter how hard he pulled, I didn't move. Nothing moved, actually. It felt like I was outside my body watching him pull it. Why wasn't I moving? Was I scared? Well, of course I was scared. If she was hurt, I should help her. Like my classmates were. Wait, I wasn't like them, right? I was a right-sider. No, they were doing the right thing. I should help them. I couldn't move. What should I do? He spat out the words as he let go of my arm. He ran back to his friends and they all started to take turns pressing down on their injuries again. He whispered something to them and they all looked at me for a moment. There was disgust in their eyes. Their eyes said more than words ever could. I hope I never end up like him, they said. The next thing I knew, I was running. Not because I had to get to the hospital, because I wanted to get away. I don't remember where I ran. Each time someone lying on the ground begged me for help, I ran faster and in a different direction. I closed my eyes so I couldn't see anything, then tripped. I held my ears so I couldn't hear anything. My body was shaking. I felt coldness pressing in from all around me like I'd never felt before. Why was I running? I was the right-sider. While they were learning about useless nonsense at school, I was becoming smarter than them. I should be the one looking down on them. I knew lots of things they didn't. I should go back and tell them what to do. Were they treating her injuries right? Were they doing it in the right order? I could make the right decisions. Oh, this is gonna suck. I remember the very beginning of the game, where we established something went wrong with our parents. I was very surprised when I saw who'd just spoken to me. It was my mom and dad. Only then did I realize where I was. It was the shelter outside AH Tokyo General Hospital. I'd made it. Dad motioned to Mom and I, or me, to keep moving. What? I didn't hear anything about that. When she grabbed my arm, the sensation from earlier came back and I shook her off. Saved. Mom screamed and pulled me along behind her as she followed Dad. I went too, my legs moving as if they weren't my own. From the hell I'd just seen, I was saved by people who had never cared about me before. There was a sharp pain in my head. I shook off her arm. My mom was screaming, but I didn't know what she said. I couldn't hear. My head hurt and I didn't know why. My vision started to blur and I could feel my body starting to go numb. My nails were digging into my head, but I couldn't feel them. I tried to think through the pain. Saved? Me? Why? These people had always neglected me. Now they were going to save me? Why? You two just happened to find me here, which means you were going to leave me, right? You ignored me for so long, and now you're going to save me? And I'm supposed to accept that. A pain shot through my temples like I was being stabbed with something sharp. No. That wasn't what you were supposed to say. This isn't what's supposed to happen to me. This isn't the information I'm supposed to get. All the wrong-siders in the class are doing the right thing and looking down on me. I'm a right-sider. I'm the person who's supposed to know what to do when everything goes wrong. I'm not like those preening jackasses online. I actually went on a dangerous adventure, and they looked at me like I was less valuable than some random meme and joke site. And now you people are going to save me. You, the people who just gave me 1,000 yen instead of taking me out to dinner on my birthday? Hell no. I'm not the kind of person who just gets saved by parents who don't even want him. Shut up. You're the ones who are in the way. What can I do? What do I want to do? Why am I here? I thought of my childhood friend. That's right. Where's Serica? What? I'd come here to save Serica. I couldn't feel her on my back through the pain in my head. That's right. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm saving someone's life. See, this concerns me, because if everyone's giving me crap for this, you'd think they would have seen her on my back, right? Like, clearly I'm busy saving someone, so I get a free pass? This might be a problem. Serica will understand that. She always tells me I'm right. She always understands what I have to do. So, we are Serica? No. Yes? Is this a multiple personality thing? Are we, in fact, guilty of the murders? Because it did say Kurisu suddenly realized she was talking to Miyashiro. But then she apologized to us, and we couldn't hit Serica because she's not real, but other people talk to Serica? This is terribly confusing. The pain went beyond my capacity to endure it. My whole field of vision went white. I didn't take out my own parents, did I? Shut up. You people should just go away forever. Serica, save me. Please. Please. Oh yeah?
依然として重要参考人である宮代拓君の情報は入ってきておりません。
Oh boy. What I don't get though is that Kurisu has known Serica for a long time, so was this entire game, does it turn out I'm accidentally a gigalomaniac? I am the one who manipulated Serica to be like the perfect friend to make me feel like I'm important? Like Serica's so dumb, I'm so smart? But she's suddenly sharp sometimes, as the game mentioned way early? That might be her normal personality? I don't know what the hell this is. But for now, it is time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today, didn't we? The duel is concluded, and Kurisu is dead. But I am very confused about who Serica is and how she works, especially when Kurisu asked, "Who are you?" and realized she was talking to Miyashiro, even though Miyashiro didn't get to the location until later. This is a serious, serious problem. And now we are wanted by the nation of Japan, and there's a chance we might actually be guilty. We'll have to see. Until next time, everyone.